Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of Quizzing with Members. We saw a cracker, one of the best matches of all time, in the last episode, the 7th episode of Quizzing with the Members, where our defending champion Pavan had a remarkable comeback to win that match, which basically means Pavan is back here for this episode. And he's joined by three people again, as always. And this time there are two debutants and one person is back. So let's meet them one by one. Our first contestant was born and brought up in Raigad, Chhattisgarh, and BTech Computer Science from Bhubaneswar. Hi, nice. And then moved to Pune, and now he's in Sweden. And he's a consultant and loves a lot of things in life, including quizzing. Give it up for Akrity. Hi, Akrity. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Akrity. Oh, I just saw your Beatles t-shirt, so I got very like, hey, Beatles fan. Nice.
Getting some points here.
Yes, always.
Score anything in quizzing, I think.
Yes, Akriti, welcome, and so glad to have you here for the first time on Quizzing with Members. And I said first time because our next contestant has been here earlier in one of the earliest episodes of Quizzing with Members. So, no introduction for repeat people. Give it up for Aravind. Aravind.
Hey.
If there ever was a negative point for t-shirt.
I know, I was just thinking.
God damn, Aravind. Oh, the worst. Welcome. How have you been, Arvind? Have you been following Pavan's journey?
Yeah, thank you, Kivi. Yes, I have. Hoping to put a dent in Pavan's point.
Yes. You must.
Today. Yeah.
You must. Okay. On that note, talking about our defending champion, won in a crazy match in the last episode. Give it up for Pavan.
Hi, KV. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Pavan. Have you recovered from that crazy, in case I haven't said it earlier, from that matchup against Nikunj in the last match?
I am just relieved to be here. He did such a great job in the first half. I thought that I was not keeping score. I don't keep score normally. So I did not even know that I won until you said it. So it was a lot of...
man, it was crazy. Oh, oof. Still thinking of that match. Oh, it was so good. We were so tempted, Pavan, to get Nikunj for like a repeat in this very episode. We're like, man, I want to see both of you go head to head again.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay, hopefully in future. Like I said in the last episode, maybe we'll have a tournament quizzing with members, people, the quarters, semis and all that. We'll see when that happens. Okay, our last contestant, another debutant. Our next contestant was born and brought up in Thane, right here, did her undergrad from DY Patil in Navi Mumbai and moved to the US for biotechnology. Hi, extra points there for you. Currently lives in San Diego. Hey, more extra points because I went there last year. Loves spending time on the beach, surfing, reading, swimming, or trying to learn to surf, not really surfing. We'll see. We'll know more about this from our next contestant, Riddhima.
Hello. Hi.
Riddhima. First things first, are you learning to surf or can you surf? Like what?
Yes, I'm learning. I can now stand. I can balance myself, but that's about it. Yeah.
Cool. So I think you and Pavan are geographically close to each other in some sense.
Yeah, PST.
Yeah.
Yeah, me as well.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday morning 8:30 is not my time.
Oh, all four of you are not in India right now, right? Like Sweden and US and all. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Are you four ready? Akriti, Aravind, Pavan, Riddhima?
Yeah.
Let's begin. All of you know the rules. There are 16 questions. The first direct will be to Akriti. Akriti, in season 1, episode 4, the one with George Stephanopoulos, when Ross was struck in the face by a hockey puck at Madison Square Garden during the hockey game, the guys had to go to the emergency room. I thought you were great in ... Chandler stated to Ross after he had a piece of steel wrapped around his nose. And there is visual also to help you guys. Just fill in the blank.
Yes. I'll take a guess. I don't have a clear answer. Is it something related to excavating steel from somewhere? Or...
No. Going to Aravind.
I'll be really upset if I get this wrong, but Is it Silence of the Lambs?
Yes, I was. The moment the question came, from that moment to this moment, Aravind, just admiring your patience. He had this big grin and he was like, "Oh my God, Akriti, just ask, please." Oh man, yes, it is. Of course, I thought you were great in Silence of the Lambs. Okay, that is the answer. Of course, the obvious reference is his face, Ross's face, very similar to this face, animal. Okay. Uh, so 11 points to Arvind for this. And yeah, 11 to Arvind. I just realized, I mean, we can love or hate Friends, but Friends is so iconic that the question, nowhere it mentions what show we are talking about. You know what I mean? Like usually in these questions, you say like, whatever, this show, this season. You're just like, yeah, I mean, Ross, Chandler, like everybody knows. Crazy. Okay. Next, direct to Pavan. Pavan, the biggest question some 70 years back was, who would manufacture the 1.7 million of these? Because several things had to be kept in mind even while manufacturing and procuring. Apart from being sturdy and cost effective, the manufacturers had to ensure that these were tamper proof. The time was ticking and the design had to be finalized. Besides, external locks were very expensive. At this time, the skilled shop floor worker at Godrej, Nathalal Panchal, came to the rescue. After 50 designs and prototypes, one prototype was deemed technically acceptable and economically viable. What did Godrej manufacture at such a large scale back then, which was of significant importance since a certain event happened for the first time?
I think it's the boxes in which the votes are kept for the first general election in India after independence.
Yes, perfect. 10 points there to Pavan. We are talking about ballot boxes for the first general elections in India. Okay. Cool. Now we go to Riddhima for the next direct. Pavan, there are barely any sports questions in this episode.
Oh man.
Just sharing. Great news for Pavan and heartbreak for Aravind and his United t-shirt. We had lots of sports question, Aravind. Then I saw your t-shirt and then at back end changed everything. Okay, Riddhima, your direct. Ex-Western is a broad subgenre of Western films which emerged in the mid-1960s in the wake of Sergio Leone's filmmaking style and international box office success. The term was used because most of these films were produced and directed by people from a specific country. Many of the stories take place in the dry landscapes of the American Southwest and northern Mexico. Hence, common filming locations were the Tabanes Desert and the Cabo de Gata Nihar Natural Park. Just tell me, what is X, like dash westerns, or just what subgenre are we talking about? So, subgenre of Western films called dash western. And the name came because most of the producers and directors of this kind of cinema were from a specific country.
I'm just gonna take a guess.
Hmm?
Is it Colombian Westerns?
Not Colombian Western. Going to Akriti?
Latino Western or Latin Western?
Not Latin or Latino Westerns. Going to Aravind?
Is it a Texas Western?
Not Texas Western. Going to Pavan?
It's spaghetti Western in Italy.
Yes. Full points to Pavan for patience this time. It is, of course, since most people were from Italy, they are known as spaghetti Westerns. And you can see The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for a few dollars more. Fistful of Dollars. Man with No Name trilogy, basically. So 13 points there to Pavan. We are talking about spaghetti Westerns. Okay, now we come to the world of literature, this time to Riddhima. Riddhima, the X principle states that a deficiency in any one of a number of factors dooms an endeavor to failure. Consequently, a successful endeavor is one for which every possible deficiency has been avoided. Okay, now why do we call this principle X principle? Is because this name derives from an 1877 novel which states that some happy entities share a common set of attributes which lead to happiness, while any of a variety of attributes can cause an unhappy entity. So I just want the novel's name from you. Take a look at the second para specifically and tell me what novel are we talking about.
Is it the linchpin principle?
Not the linchpin principle. Going to Akrity.
Pass.
Are you passing, Akrity?
Yes.
Okay. Passing to Aravind.
Yeah, I have no clue. Pass.
Okay. Passing to Pavan.
This is Anna Karenina.
And would you want to tell us the funda in the second para?
It's basically all happy families are alike, and unhappy families are unhappy for different reasons.
Yeah,
The opening paragraph of the book.
Yeah. Perfect. Mad shout out to Vineet, my junior from SMS, who framed this question. And the second para is such an MBA way of paraphrasing that phrase. And this is the phrase, as Pavan said. This is Anna Karenina, and the opening line, of course, is happy families are all alike, and every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. And then you paraphrase it by each happy entity share a common set of attributes which lead to happiness. Beautifully done, Vineet. This is Anna Karenina, of course. 13 points there to Pavan. And we come
It's
back
like
to...
I could see the red herring, but I could not see past it. I was like,
Yeah.
I can see it, but I can't see it.
Yeah. Okay, going to Riddhima now. Riddhima, we're talking about something started by Sen Duong. Sen Duong was inspired to create it as a movie fan. Okay, something to do with movies. When Jackie Chan's action movies were being released in the United States, and the catalyst was the movie Rush Hour. Okay, although the name, so now we're talking about the name of what he started. The name is connected to a practice of showing disapproval in a certain way. So the name comes from a practice of showing disapproval. The direct inspiration for the name came from an equivalent scene in the 1992 Canadian film Leolo. What are we talking about? That is now owned by Warner Brothers. So what he started is now owned by Warner Brothers. And the big hint is that the name comes from a practice of showing disapproval in a certain way.
So, sorry, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, so what is now owned by Warner Brothers, is that one thing that is related to Rush Hour that is owned by Warner Brothers, or it's a general thing that is?
So it's basically something that this guy started. Okay, so he was a movie fan, especially in the 90s, and he used to love like these movies, the Jackie Chan's action movies, etc. And then he started something that what he started has nothing specific to do with Rush Hour or Jackie Chan or Leolo. These are just some of his inspirations.
Okay. I'll pass.
Okay, Riddhima passes. We go to Akrity.
No clue. Pass.
Okay, passing to Aravind.
Yeah, pass.
Okay, passing to Pavan.
Is it Rotten Tomatoes?
It's Rotten Tomatoes. That's how you show disapproval. If you don't like something on stage, you throw Rotten Tomatoes. That's where the word, like the phrase, lent its name to what he started. He started Rotten Tomatoes, and as movie fans, you would know how important Rotten Tomatoes is. Okay, Pavan gets another 13, and we come back to Riddhima. So from movies now, we move to Africa. Okay. In 2009, a fishing town in East Africa called Harar Dere decided that the local economy needed an overhaul. Thus, a unique stock exchange was established. The Wall Street Journal has reported over 70 distinct operations are listed here. The town, which had been written off by the outside world, became a place crowded with luxury cars, seemingly overnight, all from the profits from this exchange. Okay, I just want from you, what is so unique about this stock exchange, or what kind of businesses do you think are listed at this stock exchange?
Is it something related to like pearl diving?
Not pearls or diamonds. Going to Akrity.
Is it cold storage?
Not cold storage. Going to Aravind.
Does it have to do anything with animals?
Not animals. Going to Pavan.
Does this have to do with piracy off the coast of Somalia?
Yes, absolutely. This is the world's one of the most unique stock exchanges. This is a pirate stock exchange. Okay, it's the world's first pirate stock exchange. So people who are pirates, Somali pirates, and other East African pirates, were realized यार अपना भी कुछ एक business होना चाहिए, and they started this thing, and then of course we've all seen the result. World's first pirate stock exchange. Okay, so 13 to Pavan, and we come back to Riddhima for the next one. Riddhima, the winged X of Thebes is a mythological creature who is said to have terrorized people by demanding the answer to a riddle taught to her by the muses. She would devour a man each time the riddle was answered incorrectly. Eventually, Oedipus gave the correct answer, and the X thereupon killed herself. X was considered omniscient, and even today, the wisdom of the X is proverbial. X is a prominent figure in Egyptian, Asian, and Greek mythology and is considered a spiritual guardian. Today, the most famous X exists as one of the world's oldest sculptures and largest monoliths. Okay, just tell me what is X?
Is it a sphinx?
Yes, Riddhima is on board now. It is Sphinx, and of course, the world's most famous Sphinx is here. Okay, 10 points there to Riddhima. And we come to Akrity now for the last question of the first half. Akrity, the bank in Winterthur was founded in 1862 in Switzerland, which was established by a group of local businessmen, operated primarily as a commercial bank, providing financing for a range of companies and projects. What did it give rise to 5 decades later? So around early 20th century. This gave rise to something, so I'm looking at a specific answer. Okay.
Is it the Swiss bank?
Yeah, I would want you to go, like, be more specific. That's why I said need a specific answer. Swiss bank is generic, like there are many Swiss banks, but I'm looking at one specific answer.
No clue, sorry.
Okay, passing to Aravind.
Yeah, I don't know the specific one as well. Pass.
Okay, going to Pavan.
Is it UBS?
It is UBS. Yes, it is UBS. We're talking about UBS. Okay, UBS, the bank based in Zurich, I think, Switzerland. Okay, 12 for Pavan this time. And that brings us to the end of the first half. Okay, this is the point where most members realize कि यार देखने में ज़्यादा मजा आता था. I think it's okay, no, but it's fun. We are all learning new things and it's fun. It's multiple factors that go, and there's one whole half left. But let's take a quick look at the score. Akrity yet to start scoring. 11 for Aravind on Silence of the Lambs, 10 for Riddhima on Sphinx, and Pavan has 10 for ballot boxes, 13 for Spaghetti Western, 13 for Anna Karenina, 13 for Rotten Tomatoes, 13 for Pirate Stock Exchange, and 12 for UBS. So Pavan is on
right now.
Pavan is on 74, I think.
Should we play, guys?
Hey man, come on. We'll see. Okay, so we'll start the second half now. Riddhima, Pavan, Aravind, Akrity. That is going to be the order. We'll reverse, which means the first question of the second half will start with Riddhima. Riddhima, in 1971, Morgan Guaranty Trust, an investment bank, published a list of stocks to buy. They were called one decision stocks because you had to buy and never consider selling. These companies were household names, high profile, large caps, dominant in their respective industries, solid balance sheets, high returns on capital, and healthy profit margins. Additionally, most of them had been growing revenue at double-digit rates. Now, what two-word name was given to this list of stocks? And one extra hint is that the two-word name given to these stocks is a very popular two-word phrase or two-word term in Indian markets. Okay, so although the term was originally used for this bunch of stocks, not in India, But now, for some reason, this two-word term is popular in Indian financial markets for some reason. What two-word term are we looking at?
Is it blue chip?
Not blue chip. Going to Pavan.
That was going to be my guess as well.
Yeah, blue chip is the most, like, the first thought that
Yeah.
comes. Yeah, but blue chip is a term used everywhere. This is a very specific name he gave to this group, which is now also popular in Indian market for some reason. Sorry, Pavan's pass.
Can't think of anything. I'll pass.
Okay, going to Aravind.
Yeah, I don't know of any other terms as well. Is it like one shot or something?
No, going to Akrity.
No clue. Pass.
Okay, we'll start again with Riddhima, make it a 5-point question. So think indexes or indices. Think index. And think Indian market, think two-word term, bunch of stocks, so there might be a number in the answer. And they might have given it a name, and then that is now an index in Indian financial market. Should I add more hint or?
Yes.
So two-word term where the second, like the second part of the two-word term is a number. So it's like Crazy 88 from Kill Bill.
Pass. I don't know.
Okay, passing to Pavan.
Is it Sensex 30?
No, not, but good guess. Sensex 30. Going to Aravind.
I'll go to the other one, the Nifty 100. I don't know.
Almost there. I'll give you a chance to improve, Aravind, but that two-word term needs to have some zing to it. So it can't be
okay,
Nifty.
okay. Right,
So-
Nifty 60? Oh,
Nifty 60, you said.
yes.
Macha, just like, why,
Pass it to me.
why would you pick 60, Dad?
Nifty.
I'll give it to
Oh,
you. I
sorry,
will give you
Nifty
one
50.
point.
Yeah.
If I
Oh
ask you to pick a number that rhymes with Nifty, you would pick 60 before 51.
Oh God.
Oh man, crazy. Okay, I'll close this with Arvind because there was no point going to Akriti with this because Arvind got Nifty, but he did some hesitation before he reached Nifty 50. So instead of 7, which he should have gotten, I would give you 5. Is that okay, Arvind? 5?
Sure. More
5.
than enough.
मिलना तो मुझे नेगेटिव चाहिए था.
सही बात है.
Nifty 60. Okay, 5 to Aravind, which means the next direct will be to Akriti. Okay, Akriti, X was a Sufi saint who was the spiritual master of the eldest son of Shah Jahan, Dara Shikoh. X was known for his wisdom and generosity, but we know him better for his tall claims and stories. Okay, that's why we know of this character. A lot of Indian folklore revolve around X. He's a comic character full of goof-ups of life. He built castles in the air and established great businesses and empires in his imagination. When his imaginary stories ended, he would find himself surrounded by people laughing at him. His stories being so laughable, people started calling fools and daydreamers as X. So it's now a term that people usually use if you are someone who is a daydreamer, etc., etc. Okay. What was this saint's name?
Quick question, if I can.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The comic character it's an actual comic, right? It's not like a comedic character. It's in like...
Yeah, there are like books and literature around the character also. So essentially, this was a real life person during the Mughal era. But now the only reason we might know him is because of the second para, not necessarily the first para, wherein think of like building castles in the air and just goof ups but essentially this imagination and businesses, but in imagination, and so laughable that people call daydreamers as X. That I think is a big clue. Pass. Okay, passing to Riddhima.
Is it Sheikh Chili?
Yes, it is Sheikh Chili. 11 points there to Riddhima. It is Sheikh Chili. Beautiful crack. It is Sheikh Chili. Of course, Sheikh Chili ke sapne, Sheikh Chili ki duniya, blah, blah, blah. Sheikh Chili. There's also an old movie that came in 1940s called Sheikh Chili. Sheikh Chili's tomb is in Haryana if you ever visit in Thanesar. There is Sheikh Chili. Okay. 11 points there to Riddhima, which means next direct will be to Pavan now. Okay, Pavan, the year was 1925. The place Bhagavati Amman Temple in Kanyakumari refused permission to enter the inner shrine by temple authorities. Mahatma Gandhi offered worship standing outside the temple. Gandhi, who was visiting the princely state of Travancore, South Kerala, and the famed temple during his South India tour, articulated his anguish in an article in Navjeevan, a weekly newspaper he published. All I want from you is why was he refused an entry to the temple that had something to do with prejudices in the Indian culture that ran for centuries? Okay. Why do you think they did not allow Mahatma Gandhi to enter the inner shrine of this temple?
Was the inner shrine only allowed for Brahmins to enter?
No. Going to Aravind.
Is it because he was unmarried?
He was married and all by 1925. So yeah.
Okay.
Going to Akrity.
Is it because he was bare body, bare chested?
No, not bare chested. Going to Riddhima.
Is it because he refused? He was wearing leather?
No. Okay. We'll start with a hint for Pavan. We'll start with Pavan with a hint. So just fun hint I want to give. The hint for this question is this panel of today's panel of quiz is a big hint for why Gandhi was denied an entry in this temple.
Oh, because he had gone overseas and did not do
Yes.
the required rite.
Yes, he had just crossed the sea and gone abroad, which was sort of like not allowed in our religious practices, like going abroad. And this was a prejudice for a very long time in our culture that, traveling abroad or crossing the sea was an issue. And Mahatma Gandhi, of course, crossed the sea, just like four of you. Okay. Okay. Pavan gets 5 for this. And then it was changed, like the king of Travancore got to know about it, and then other cases also, and they reformed this whole system. And obviously, prejudice does not exist anymore. But this was the prejudice then. Okay. Pavan gets 5 for this, which means Aravind will get the next direct. Aravind, we're talking about a certain person in 1517, a German monk and theologian, famously nailed as in literally, not like he went on stage and nailed his, okay, he famously nailed his 95 theses to the door of the castle church in Wittenberg. This act initiated the Protestant Reformation, challenging the Catholic Church's practices and beliefs. X's ideas spread rapidly due to the printing press. He faced opposition from the church, leading to his excommunication in 1521. During his life, X translated the Bible into German, making it accessible to the common people. His actions laid the foundation for significant religious and social changes in Europe, altering the course of history and inspiring the formation of various Protestant denominations. Who are we talking about?
No, pass.
Okay, passing to Akrity. Passing to Riddhima.
Is it Goethe?
Not Goethe. Going to Pavan.
Martin Luther.
It is Martin Luther. Yes. 13 points there to Pavan. We are talking about Martin Luther. Okay. Not to be confused with, obviously, the other Martin Luther, Dr. Martin Luther King. This is Martin Luther back from 16th century Europe. Okay. Which means the next direct will again be Aravind's. Aravind, X is a Buddhist priest who is in charge of a temple. The word is a Japanese reading of the Chinese He Shang, meaning a highly virtuous Buddhist monk. It is also a respectful designation for Buddhist monks in general and may be used with the suffix san, as you know, and is originally derived from the Sanskrit upadhyay, meaning master. What term that became well known in the West? I mean, of course, in the East as well, but for some reason in the West, when someone in 1989 started to call himself with this name. Okay, so obviously the big clue is towards the end. We know this word because someone in 1989 started calling himself something, or people started calling him something. And the roots are in the first para. The etymology is in the first para.
No clue. Pass.
Okay, passing to Akrity.
I'll just take a stupid guess. I know it might be wrong. Dalai Lama?
Not the Dalai Lama. Going to Riddhima.
Just when I see the answer, I'm going to kick myself. But I don't know. Did Shang-Chi come out at that time?
Not Shang-Chi. Going to Pavan.
Is it Osho?
It is Osho. Yes, it is Osho. 13 points there to Pavan. It is Osho. Osho, basically, as we all know, Rajneesh. Rajneesh became, like people start calling him Bhagwan, and Bhagwan Rajneesh, Bhagwan. And at 1989, he said, don't call me Bhagwan. And then some of his followers suggested the name Osho, and he really liked it. And he started calling himself Osho, and now we all know him as Osho. So Acharya Rajneesh, Bhagwan Rajneesh, Osho. Okay, and of course, West, East. Okay. So Pavan gets 13 for this. Next direct will be to Aravind. Aravind, developed by Osmotic Studios, a German indie developer. X is a collection of episodic simulation video games where players take on the role of a state operative tasked with identifying national security risks. The initial entry in the series, called Keeping an Eye on You, was introduced as a 5-part episodic series on October 20th, 2016. A follow-up sequel consisting of 3 parts and subtitled Ignorance is Strength was released on February 22nd, 2018. Throughout the game, one can find numerous references to X's novel Y. Just tell me X and Y.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes, Riddhima, yes.
So it's not German developer X, right? It's X is the game.
Yeah, so X and Y basically has nothing to do with the German developer at all. It's just that this game is really inspired from a certain work, which is why X is the author.
So is the game named after the author?
Sorry, Pavan.
Sorry, is the game called by the author's name? Like X is
No.
a
No. Yes, Arvind, you were asking something?
No, I was saying Osmotic Studios is the German indie developer. Right?
Yeah.
This doesn't fit with the timeline, but I'm going to guess. Is it Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six?
No, going to Akrity. Pass, going to Riddhima.
Is it Orwell and 1984?
Perfect. What was the big hint?
The Keeping an Eye on You and the
Ignorance is Strength.
Ignorance is Strength. Yeah.
Beautiful. This is 12 for Riddhima. This is, of course, Orwell and 1984. The big clue was, of course, Keeping an Eye on You. Big Brother is watching. And Ignorance is Strength. As we know, War is Peace.
That's why I was confused. Is the name is the name just Orwell or is it like Big Brother or something like that?
Nice. War is Peace, Freedom is Slavery, and Ignorance is Strength. Okay, well done. Fantastic. This is Orwell. Okay, which means the next direct will now be to Pavan. Pavan, this word X comes from the Latin word for maid servant. X is likely to be encountered in very specialized contexts, such as philosophy or quantum computing. It picks up on the notion of providing aid or support in a way that supplements something else. In particular, and this is the most widely used usage of the word, in particular, the word often describes something that is in a position of secondary importance, such as the X products in a company's line. So what word are we talking about? Essentially, in one line, it's providing support to the main line. That's always the connotation whenever this word is used.
Is it accessory?
Not accessory. Going to Aravind.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't expect Pavan to pass this question.
Best compliment to Pavan. Pavan, you scored a century, by the way.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just thinking.
wow.
Since you don't keep a track of the scores.
Yeah, no, pass.
Okay, passing to Akrity.
Is it auxiliary?
Very good guess, but not auxiliary. Going to Riddhima. But very good direction. Going to Riddhima. Riddhima?
Is it Chamberlain?
No. Okay, so we'll start with a hint. This will be a 5-point question now, starting with Pavan. So essentially, like I said in the beginning, don't think of the main product that a company makes. Think of the support product. For instance, if you think of the airline industry, then the tickets are their main service or main product. But things like baggage charges, things like upgrade to a seat or food on the airline can be referred to as X activities or X charges. We'll take a round with that, starting with Pavan. And also, Akriti was very close in the first round, is a hint.
Is it subordinate?
Not subordinate. Going to Aravind.
Is it hidden charge?
Not hidden charges, but I get the pain. Going to Akriti.
Is it ancillary?
It is ancillary. Yes, Akriti is also on board now for 7 this time. Okay, 7. Okay. Cool. Okay, so Akriti gets 7 for that, and we'll come to Riddhima now for the next direct, which will be the last question of this quiz. This is a fun fact I discovered very recently, so I made a question out of this. Future President X submitted a report to the International UFO Bureau on September 18th, 1973, detailing his October 1969 sighting of an unidentified flying object. Essentially, this person claimed that he saw UFOs. During his presidential campaign, X openly shared his experience. He described witnessing a bright object of changing colors, similar in size to the moon, hovering around 30 degrees above the horizon. Around 10 to 12 others also saw this with him. X pledged that if elected, he would make all available UFO information public. However, as president, he reneged on his promise, citing defense concerns and potential national security risks. Tell me the person we are talking about. Enough hints, timelines are given. You also know he became a president later. Who are we talking about?
So, sorry, can I ask a question? It might be a stupid question, but so when he submitted that report, he was campaigning.
Yeah. He wasn't a president when he submitted.
Okay. Is it Ronald Reagan?
Not Ronald Reagan. Going to Pavan. But good guess, and you eliminated one option.
Yeah, it was
yeah. You eliminated Reagan. Okay, Pavan.
I didn't hear the answer to Riddhima's clarification. So was he in a campaign when he filed the report?
He might have been, but he wasn't the president. It was Riddhima's question.
Whether he was not the president.
Yeah. Wasn't the president in 1969 or 73 also. So after 1973. And Riddhima has graciously removed Ronald Reagan from all your consideration set.
Is it Bill Clinton?
Not Bill Clinton. Okay, 2 removed. Going to Aravind now.
Was it George Bush?
Not George Bush. Okay, Akriti.
Is it Jimmy Carter?
Yes, it is. Jimmy Carter immediately became president in 76. And Georgia, the reason it was a clue because he was the governor of Georgia before he became the president of the United States. And Jimmy Carter apparently said, I've seen a UFO, and then later reneged. Okay. 10, 11, 12, 13 to Akriti now. for Jimmy Carter. So that brings us to the end of this contrasting fortunes for Pavan from the last episode and this. He dominated the quiz without any doubt. But I'm not saying this just to be whatever, be like, tum log bhi achhe the, but you guys were genuinely good in any other panel. Like some of the cracks from like Sheikh Chili to Jimmy Carter to Silence of the Lambs were all great cracks. But it was just one of those days. But yeah, okay. We'll take a look at the final score. Akrity with 7 for ancillary and 13 for Jimmy Carter ends third in today's quiz. 20 points to Akrity.
Chalo, now quiz. Double digit.
Yeah, we'll see all of you soon. Just like we saw Aravind again. Aravind had 11 in the first half, and Aravind got 5 for Nifty 50. 16. Aravind will never forget Nifty 50. Every day he'll track. No. Okay. Then we come to Riddhima. Riddhima had 10 in the first half, and second half you got Orwell, 1984, Sheikh Chili. Again, I'm repeating in Sphinx. All three great cracks today. Riddhima, any other panel you would have scored much more than this. But Riddhima ends on 33 and is a runner-up of this episode. Well done. We'll see you soon. And now we come to the winner, 74 in the first half. Second half, he got 5 for Had Crossed Sea and Gone Abroad, Gandhi Funda, and then 13 each for Osho and Martin Luther. So 31 in the second half. Pavan ends with 105. Okay, that brings us to the end of the 8th episode of Quizzing with the Members. Thank you so much to Riddhima, Akrity, Aravind, Pavan. I'll see you, Pavan, soon with a new set of 3 challenges. And thank you so much to 3 of you. We'll again see you very, very soon. Hope you guys had fun. Cool. All right. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I'll see you all soon. Thank you.